Hello and welcome to this training video on how to go from 20% body fat to 10% body fat and the exact steps to help you get there. Now, if you've somehow got into this video and you haven't seen my Instagram or you haven't seen my YouTube page and you're wondering who I am, my name is Harry Knights and I'm the founder of Lean for Life Coaching, where we specialize in getting busy men and women into the shape of their life without the hours of cardio and the restrictive diets. So in this video, we're going to break down how to go from 20% to 10% body fat. In this example, we're obviously starting at 20% body fat. You might be around that figure, you might be 22, 25, 30%, you might be, 18%. The rules still apply in terms of how you can drop 10%, okay? So we need to figure out effectively how to do that. So in this example, though, we are starting at 20% body fat. So first things first, what we need to do is find our fat-free mass. So what do I mean by that? That is effectively, the amount of weight on your body that is not body fat. So it's your bones, it's your muscle, it's your skin, etc. We need to find out that number. So we need to find out our fat-free mass. So what we do is we multiply our current weight by 0.8 because in this case, 80% of you is not body fat. You're currently 20% body fat. So for example, if you weigh 200 pounds, your fat-free mass is effectively 200 pounds multiplied by 0.8. Now in this example, that is going to give us 160 pounds. So your fat-free mass is 160 pounds. So once we've worked that out, what we then need to do is take your fat-free mass, what we call that, your lean mass, your fat-free mass, and divide it by 0.9 because that is going to be your target weight. We want to be finding out our target weight here. So effectively, what you're going to be weighing when you are 10% body fat. So your target weight in this situation is going to be 160 pounds divided by 0.9. And in that situation, that is going to give us 178 pounds. Now, so that is going to be our target weight. So we're currently 200 pounds. To get to 10% body fat, we're going to need to weigh 178 pounds, okay? Now what we're going to do is simply subtract your target weight, so your 178 pounds, that's your target weight, from your current weight. So 200 pounds is our starting weight, our current weight when we're 20% body fat. So minus 178 pounds, that's going to leave us with 22 pounds of body fat. So effectively, we need to be losing 22 pounds of body fat to get to 10% body fat. Really simple. That's how we work out our target weight and how much body fat we need to lose to get to that position, that target weight we want to get to. So now, roughly speaking, when we talk about diets, we want to make them sustainable. We don't want to be losing body fat, then 6 weeks later, 6 months later, we're back to square one. It's the last thing we want to do is drop body fat and then gain it all back. We don't want to be a yo-yo dieter. 90% of people who do diets yo-yo diet, and I've done plenty of videos on how to make sure your weight loss journey is sustainable, your fat loss journey is sustainable, so you can lose that body fat and keep it off for good. It comes down to enjoying the diet, it comes down to making good choices with foods that you enjoy, the right amounts of those, to actually lose body fat, but eating foods you do love, understanding how you navigate social occasions, the training methods. I've done many videos on this, so if you want to scroll on YouTube or scroll on Instagram, you'll find videos where I talk about that. But roughly speaking, if we want to get from 20% body fat to 10%, and we've worked out our numbers, you can lose around 2 pounds of body fat a week in that early stage of that dieting phase. Then as your dieting phase goes on, it begins to slow down a little bit. Obviously, we need to break through plateaus. We have to make some adjustments, but then it slows down towards the end where roughly you're probably gonna be losing around a pound a week in those, after those initial stages. So somewhere we're looking around the 16 to sort of 24 week mark for sufficient sustainable fat loss if our goal is losing 22 pounds, which in this example, it is. Now, obviously we've worked out our numbers. We've worked out our target weight, how much body fat we need to lose, but now how do we actually go about achieving this goal? Now, I'll be honest, diet is going to be the key driver here. So let's focus on that first. Training is one part, we'll come on to that, but diet and nutrition is 80% of the whole process of losing body fat, so we need to know about that first. So we must be in what we call a calorie deficit to lose body fat. We need to be in that deficit, so we need to work that out. Now, a simple way to do this is some sort of back of napkin math here. So what you're gonna do is take your body weight in pounds. So in our situation here again, we're going off this example, 200 pounds. We want to multiply that by 15. That's going to give you your maintenance calories. Your maintenance calories is going to be how many calories you need to eat to maintain your weight. But we want to be losing body fat, we want to be losing weight. So we need to subtract 500 from that number. So 200 times by 15, it's going to give us 3,000 calories. That's our maintenance. Subtract 500 from this number, that's going to give you your deficit. So in this example, we're eating around 2,500 calories. So our calorie target is 2,500. But calories alone isn't going to help us lose body fat. We need to understand our protein, our carbohydrates, and our fats. Without those, we won't get too far on this journey. So rule of thumb here when it comes to working out what your macronutrients are. So your protein intake, you want to be eating around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if we're around 200 pounds, again in this example, we need to be eating around 200 grams of protein. Our fats make up 20% of our total daily calorie intake. So 20% of our total calories, we worked out is 2,500. 20% of that is 500, and there are 9 calories per gram of fat. So there's 500 calories here, we divide it by 9, that's gonna give us 55 grams of fat. So we now know 200 grams of protein, 55 grams of fat, and our carbs make up the rest. So we simply add our protein and fats together, and whatever's left, that's our carbohydrates. So we've got 200 grams of protein, there are 4 calories per gram of protein, so that's 800 calories. 55 grams of fat is 500 calories. So we add those together, take it off of our original number, which is 2,500. So we take 2,500, we take 800 off of 2,500, we take another 500 off that, that's gonna give us 1,200. So there are 4 calories per gram of carbs, so 1,200 calories is effectively 300 grams of carbs. So to simplify it, we've now worked out our protein, our fats, and our carbs. 200 grams, 55 grams, and 300 grams, okay? Now we have our target weight, and we know what our calories and macros are. We need to actually nail and understand training for fat loss. So if we want to lose body fat, we want to build lean muscle, we can't spend all of our time training and doing hours of cardio, so we need to make sure that we do some resistance training to actually build lean muscle as we lose the body fat. So training principles are super, super important here. This is effectively like how we can actually make sure training is effective. So roughly, you want to be speaking around 10, you want to be training around 10 to 20 sets per week on each muscle group, okay, per week. 10 to 20 sets on chest, 10 to 20 sets on back, legs, etc. We need to have 10 to 20 sets on each muscle group, okay? Then train with intensity. There's no point just going through the motions, through the reps, and just counting to 10, stopping there. Like, that's just going through the motions. That's not going to give you anything. So train with intensity. Make sure you apply progressive overload every single week. So you must be training and looking to improve. So looking to increase your weight, your reps on a weekly basis, or at least every couple of weeks. And then accuracy and form are key. We can't forget that. You have to train with good form, good accuracy. Without that, again, you're not going to see results. And then what I would do is I'll be tracking my numbers every single session. So how much weight I lifted, how many reps I lifted, and then because we've tracked it, we can then apply progressive overload really, really easily because you know what you lifted in the previous sessions. Now, these are some good splits to try, 3-day splits here, 4-day splits here, 5-day splits. You can, screenshot this and take that as an example. But fundamentally, without actually getting your training principles right, it doesn't matter what training split you do. Okay, so whether you're training push, pull, legs, upper, lower, whatever split you do, if you're not training with these principles and nailing these down, you're not going to see the results anyway. So if you are training 3 days, some good splits, 4 days here, 5 days, but please make sure you are applying our training principles. Of course, as well, cardio, do we need to do it? In my opinion, it's not a necessity. Okay, you don't want to be doing hours of it, definitely, unless for some reason you absolutely love it. However, at some point in this journey, we will need to increase our calorie deficit. That calorie number that we worked out, that will need to change on this journey at some point, and we will need to increase the deficit. So what we would need to do to actually increase the deficit is by reducing more food or adding in some less cardio, some low intensity steady state cardio. Because if you add additional maybe 200 calories per day of less cardio, so you're burning an additional 200, that's going to bring 200 calories off of your total calories for the day, and that's going to increase your calorie deficit. So you can increase your deficit by doing more cardio, more steps, or by reducing food, but I would only really use cardio as a tool when actually necessary, okay? Now, I hope that's given you a good sort of understanding on how you can go and get from your 20% body fat down to your 10% body fat, and the steps and the process of that are required. Really simple. You do a little bit of maths, you work out exactly your target weight, how much body fat you need to be losing, and then you work out your time frames. You then work out your calories and your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Training split, make sure you're applying progressive overload, make sure you're training with intent, good accuracy, good form, and you maybe add some cardio in when necessary, or you reduce some food when you reach that weight loss plateau. Now, hopefully this video was useful. If you found it useful, please let me know. Any questions in the meantime, again, drop me a message or leave them in the comments below. But if you do want some more tailored one-to-one guidance on this, and you want to actually make sure that 2025 is your year, and you want to work with someone to make this whole process so much easier, hold you accountable, do all of this for you, and truly get you in the shape of your life this year, then just click the link down below or drop me a message on Instagram and we can book a quick call in, schedule that in, have a chat about your goals and see if we're a good fit. But hopefully this was useful. Any questions in the meantime, just let me know.